I can't do it. Okay. We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. F it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
And here we go. It's another edition of the Daily Puck Drop. It is Friday, November 8th. Ladies and gentlemen, kiddos, how are we? Big thanks to everybody that's watching on the YouTube stream, also on Twitter. Appreciate that as well. And then on the Puck Sports mobile app. That's right. We've got the Puck Sports mobile app. It is up and running. And I know a good chunk of you guys and gals listen there on the Puck Sports mobile app. So we appreciate that. And if you're listening to this later on the podcast, you're like, hey, you guys go live? Yeah, we go live every day. We go live every day there at 10 a.m. We usually go to around 11:30, so we appreciate those checking in, whether you're checking in live or checking in later there on the podcast up there on YouTube. And again, on YouTube, it's like a broken record, but you got to do it, all right? You got to do it. Please subscribe, like, leave comments there on the YouTube page. But most important thing is to subscribe. And then, of course, we're on all the podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast. The thing you're going to get on this network is no dudes on dudes. That's what you're not going to ever get, is dudes on dudes. And you know what? You can thank me. You can thank me very much for not shoving that down your damn throat. All right. No Jim Moore today. I'll just quickly say this for Jim. He's still with us. His wife is in the hospital. She's just having some issues going on. So he'll be back hopefully on Monday. But just he's dealing with his wife right now. She's okay. But she just had to go to the hospital, go see the doctor. He's with her. She's doing fine. She's doing great. Just wanted to pass that along. All well wishes going to Jim and his wife, Kathy. But she's just having some tests run, and then she'll be back. Or Bill back off her feet and ready to go, and he'll be back with us on Monday. Also, no Troy wins today. Troy is got some family business. He's flying back and wasn't unable to make it today on the program. We still will go over all of our picks coming up at some point. We'll do Puck the Pick or Pigskin Pick'em coming up. Probably towards the end of the show is when we'll do it. We've moved up the Prince of Puyallup, Chris Egan. God, we love Chris Egan. You can't get enough of Egan. And so Egan will join us coming up bottom of the hour. And we'll talk to Chris. We got high school football playoffs starting this week, and kind of the preliminary games, and then whoever knows, I don't know what we get in with Chris. We could just kind of go anywhere and everywhere. With Egan, we'll do that. As you can see on the rundown, I got a question for Coug fans. And now listen, I'm not trying to alienate any Husky fans or Duck fans or Beaver fans or all that, but I do have a question that I want to answer, or I want to ask, and I want it to be answered by you. And it comes to home games, attending home games. What's the deal? Like, why do fans of Cougar fans find it difficult to get over there? And there are many factors that we'll get into, many reasons why. But it was a talking point that myself, Jim, and Paul Sorensen and Jamie Vinica, Coug fan, had this week. Just in terms of, if you listen to Dickert, Dickert's on this show almost every other week. And, one thing he brings up a lot is fan engagement and fan support. And, fan support over there has been off. And I don't know if you can just chalk it up as the schedule, or just chalk it up as the, not the schedule, but chalk it up as the schedule, like who they're playing. I don't think it's just that. So I want to get into that a little bit later there on the program. And one thing we're going to do today, I'm going to give away the $100 package. I was going to wait on this, but I'm going to give away the $100 package to the Puck's Posse community membership. We'll do it at the end of the show. You can still sign up, although I have the person we're going to give it away to, but you can still sign up the Puck's Posse community membership. You can go to the website, pucksports.com, sign up there, and we're going to give away $100 to Georgetown Brewery, and also to Flat Stick Pub, and to Georgetown Brewery. And so John Howie Steak, Georgetown Brewery, and Flat Stick Pub. So $100, $50 to John Howie Steak, $25 to Flat Stick, $25 to Georgetown Brewery. And we're going to attempt to do something later in the show. I'm not sure how it's going to go. I'm going to send out a link via the StreamYard to see if it does work. We will open up the phone lines for a Friday mailbag. And we'll probably do it around 11:10 or so. We'll see how it goes. I can only have, I think, 10 people at once on here. But we'll open it up. We'll call it a Friday mailbag. You can ask whatever you want. Anything and everything's on the table. We've been thinking about, Jim and I are thinking about doing this for a while now. And I thought, yeah, you know what? He's not here today. Troy's not here today. Why don't we just do it on a Friday? Friday's supposed to be fun. We'll do it on a Friday. So Friday Fun Mailbag. That's what we'll call it. It's got a working title. I don't know. I'll send out the link a little bit later so not everyone is jumping on right away. And I will say this. You could do it on your phone, but you have to download the app. So if you're on a computer, the best way to do it will be via your computer. And keep it clean, people, all right? I don't need anybody like going off swearing and any of that stuff, all right? I mean, we swear a little bit here, but keep it clean. But you can ask whatever you want. Everything's on the table. I can choose to answer it or not answer it, but whatever you guys want to do, we'll do it around 11:10, 11:15 or so. We've got Friday voicemails. There's a back. We got 2 good ones. And then, of course, we wrap up the show there with Hey, What the Puck. So we'll get into all that. I do want to get into this topic, though, because I guess more of a topic for Coug fans. I'm all Couged out, right? But I think other fans, can answer this as well. I don't know if Husky fans experience this. I mean, probably to a degree, not so much to the degree I don't think is Cougar fans, just because if you live in and around the Seattle area, for you, it's easier to get to games. Not everybody lives in Seattle, but if you live in Snohomish or you live in Everett or Tacoma, I mean, you're talking, an hour drive, 45-minute drive compared to, 5 hours, hotel, all that kind of stuff, which is the issue with, Washington State and going over there for games. We're going over. I have season tickets. This will be only the second game I've been to. I guess, quote, my excuse. And I don't think it's an excuse, but the reason why we haven't, as a family, been able to attend many games this year is sports. My son plays football. Every Saturday is a football game. So it's, yeah, if the Cougs were like in Seattle like the Huskies, we have a game in the morning and then they would play at night, we could make it. But, when you got to drive 5 hours, you just can't make it. And so it's what do you want to choose? You want to choose Cougar football or your kid playing youth sports? I mean, everyone's going to choose your kid playing youth sports. But it was a topic that we got on this week. Myself, again, Paul Sorensen and Jim Moore and Jamie Vinnick of Coug Fan. Jamie wasn't around for this one, but on the Old Crimson podcast, which we do every single week, was just about the numbers. Utah State, not a good opponent. It's Mountain West. It's a 7:30 kickoff. It's going to be cold. There probably won't be many people there. And it's something, though, in the conversations I've had with Dickert, on and off. He's never said this specifically, but I can tell it bothers him. It bothers him that people aren't there. And he's talked about it. And I just think it's something that it bears worth watching if he ever decides to leave, because I think, as I stated this week, it could be a factor. There's him a lot. And I think it would be something that would cause him to look elsewhere. I think he looks at a school that's been through it, that his coaching staff has put a good product out on the field. They're 7-1. Whatever the schedule is, it is, but they are. And to come back home, ranked in the playoffs, and if they come running out of the tunnel and they see empty seats again, I think it's going to piss him off. I just think, because you know what he hears a lot?
Well, that's what's going to happen this week.
I know, but he hears this a lot, and I hear it a lot. Oh, we're so passionate, such a passionate fan base. Yet, you got people, they don't sell it out. And I think he sees that and is like, what else do we need to do? I mean, we're ranked and playing great. Why aren't you here? And again, I've asked a lot of people, and I asked people on Twitter today, what's the reason why most fans can't make it over? And again, not an excuse, not and it's not like, hey man, gonna beat you guys up for not going, because people have their reasons for not attending games. And again, I do think it's not just a Washington State problem. I'm sure, again, it's easier for Husky fans to go to games because of the proximity to the stadium, to where most people of the alums and fans live. But there are certainly Husky fans that are like, the rotating times, and you never know, a week or two out what time the game is, and then a kid's sporting event, and that gets in the way. Now, for you guys, if you do face those problems, Husky fans, you got to then now just times it by 100, maybe more, when you're talking about traveling 5 hours. Okay, now you've got to stay in a hotel room if you want to stay in and around Pullman. Well, Pullman specifically, that is a 2-night minimum. That's it. I always like to repeat that for people. I mean, they make you stay there both nights. So if you want to stay there, you are paying almost $1,000, because they will because they know they can make it money on those football weekends. Most of the times it's about $400 a night, and then you start throwing out all the taxes. You're spending almost $1,000 on 2 nights just to stay over there. I mean, and listen, if you ever been over there, it ain't like, some 5-star hotels. I mean, they're nice, but it ain't that nice. And so I just asked, people on Twitter, just, what are the reasons? Why do you find it hard to get over there to? And, I try to go to one game a year, but between the travel, hotels, food tickets, everything for that weekend runs about $1,500. Yeah, it's, again, that's from Whoa Nelly. Great one. Again, that's one of the common themes about the issues over there. If there was a lot of people, Keith and others, I know Doug has mentioned this one. There used to be a flight that you used to have called Cougar that would take off in the morning and bring you over there. And then once the game was over, I think it was like 30 minutes or so after the game, it would take you back to Seattle. Now, that was a great idea back in the day, and you included in that were tickets. But I think even if you had season tickets, you could get on it as well. And it was a great idea. I did it a couple of times, and it was fun. But that was back in the day when, like, the schedule came out, and you knew the start time for every game. Like, it was, whenever, like in August before that. Like, you knew exactly, that I know in October they're going to kick off at 4 o'clock. But now you don't know that. So I think you could still pull it off and do it, but I still think there would be some challenges, to that from the airline industry. Spencer Brown says it just costs too much for a weekend. For 2 people, it runs over $1,000. Seamus Gibson writes, Portland State, San Jose State, Hawaii, Utah State. I'm not driving 3+ hours to watch those powerhouses. I do think, I said earlier that I don't think so much that the schedule has a factor into it. I'll stand corrected. I do think that the schedule does play a factor into it. Is it a major factor? I think yes and no. Because I've been to plenty of games last year and the previous, I don't know, we've had season tickets for 5 years now, where we've had Pac-12 opponents and the attendance has been poor. I mean, there's certain teams that it's better. Oregon State's always a good turnout. Clearly, Washington's always a good turnout. Oregon, just trying to think of other, Utah was always pretty okay when they were there. But like when UCLA came or USC was bad, Arizona State came bad, Arizona bad. Wisconsin was good. I know it's not a conference opponent, but when you have a good opponent, they were certainly good. So I don't know what the solution is, to be honest with you. I don't know what they need to do. I think for West Side fans like myself, which the majority of your alumni base probably lives, I think adding a flight that somehow offers some type of discount and flies you out of there right away could be a possibility, something they should look into. But again, how many fans are we talking about? That's like 100, 200 fans. How many people are going to put on a plane? Do the hotels get together and stop making it a 2-night minimum? Do they lower the prices? I mean, here's the thing with these hotels over there. Like, it won't be sold out there. We're staying in Moscow, by the way. One by choice because I love the hotel in Moscow, the Monarch Inn. Anybody ever wants to stay in a great hotel? It's a motel, but it's a nice motel called the Monarch. Right downtown Moscow. Unbelievable. Great. Boom. You're right to the Moscow Ale House. Phenomenal. Anyways, the Pullman hotels, there will be rooms available. But because they have this stupid 2-night minimum thing, they'll refuse to open it up for one night. They'll refuse. Or if they do, in a rare case they do, they'll wait until like tomorrow, like at 4 or 5. Instead of just saying, why would we eat Friday night right now? Let's just start selling them this instant and see if people will come. So I think the athletic department could do a better job of appealing probably to the fan base in Spokane, because that's what they really need. Is they need the alumni base and the fan base that's in Spokane to be really honestly the drivers of coming down and supporting it. The people I sit next to, well, we base our little joke is our section is like Spokane Valley. Like, everybody in our section is from Spokane, most of them, except the family right next to us is from the Tri-Cities, and they come every game. And they will be there tomorrow, I guarantee. And they don't stay, they drive over and they drive back. And they are diehards, man. Now, I don't know what that drive is. Tri-Cities to Pullman, I think hour and a half, I think, so round trip 3 hours, but they'll be over there and they'll be getting in their car and they don't leave early. They'll be getting in their car at midnight and then driving back to the Tri-Cities, getting home at, 1:32 in the morning. I mean, so there is some inherent difficulties of having a university over there, but then having where your alumni base is spread out as much as it is, and then spread out there on the west side there as well. Somebody else just said, hey, I graduated in 2022. I'm broke. It's expensive to go to games. It's a 6-hour drive, hotel, food, tickets the whole weekend dedicated to a trip. It really is, when you think about it. If you don't have season tickets or you're just going over there for a trip, it's like going to an away game in a way. It really is. It is. I try to think of creative ideas to be able to get people over there. It's not like they haven't been successful, because they have been successful. They've been, relevant for over a decade. Some years up and down, but they've been relevant. They've been in the current discussion in college football. I think a lot of people, and I don't think Coug fans are immune to this, and a lot of Coug fans have been, dissatisfied and upset with the current landscape of college athletics. And then the money, you keep asking for money, and you're being pulled in all these different areas, to support the program. And they're all vital ways to support the program. You need to give to the collective, you need to give the athletic fund and all that. And then on top of that, you're asked, hey, come back, to Pullman and spend $1,000 on hotel stay. And it makes it difficult. It's why we take the van for the most part. Now, not this week, but it's why we take the van, and our asses are sleeping in it down by a river, for God's sakes. Because, it's just cost effective. Let's see this comment that came in from what is that? Sunbob. Full stadium. Make the games free for students. When I went to school there, I could barely afford drafting supplies for my classes. So I never went to football games. Basketball was more affordable. Well, isn't it free anyways? Am I an idiot? Doesn't it just come with a sports pass? I think that would be. I don't know how you incentivize more students to come. I mean, it's a 25,000, roughly 28,000 people that go to school there. If you could get every student to show up and go to the game, that'd be great. I mean, the student section is just that one section, but even that, is not full at times, or disappears at halftime. I mean, that's the other thing too, and you'll see it tomorrow. I mean, the stadium won't be full, okay? And then at halftime, most likely they should be handling their business at halftime. Okay, and it will empty out because people want to go back to the tailgate. They'll want to go back to the fraternities, and that's what they want to do. And you'll see it. They're trying to do some things to keep people inside the stadium. They're doing something really cool. I always like it. The Kingdome used to do this way back in the day, where they had like the little league football teams on the field to play, like the junior football teams, like 4th and 5th graders, and they're doing that. I don't think that's necessarily going to get people to stay in the stadium. I'm going to stay in the stadium to watch it, but I'm an idiot, and I'm 48, and I'm a loser. But I think most people are going to say, I'm going to go back to the tailgate. Good for the kids. I'm going to get a few more beers, and then they don't come back. I mean, they just, depending on how the game's going to be going tomorrow, and if it's a blowout, then you'll see no one in there. And the point with Dickert is, I think Jake Dickert wants to stay. I really, really do. I always talk about coaches and their BS meter and their professional liars and all that. I believe this guy. I really, really do. And when he says when he said it on this show that I want to stay and coach for 10 more years and then I'm done. I want to go watch my kids play sports. And then he said, I want it to be here. I think for sure. I think he does want it to be here. I think one thing that factors into it for him a little bit is I think he gives so much to that program. And I think the kids give so much, and they're good this year, and they have been good, for, like I said, for the last decade or so. And I think for him, when he sees the effort level his squad is putting together, but yet doesn't see the turnout from the fans, it bothers him, man. It just does. And I get it, because he does hear like how passionate the fan base is. And I do think it's a passionate fan base. I do. It doesn't mean because people aren't going there that they're not passionate about it. Because, again, I think there's a lot of issues with having games over there. But it could be a factor if he ever decides to leave. Listen, I want to go to an environment in which, man, people are into it. Okay? That they're 100% into it. Now, let's say Wisconsin came calling. I mean, it's easier to be 100% into something in Madison, Wisconsin, because that's a 200,000 plus area. I mean, people that aren't involved with the school live there. I mean, most of you watching and listening have been to Pullman. If you haven't, it's it. I mean, that's the only thing there is the school. That's it. That's the only thing. I mean, it's like the town is like 33,000 and 28,000 of its kids going to school there. So it's just that. So it's hard to get that, I guess, fringe fan maybe that didn't go to school there. Is just there for work or retirement, like something like Madison. But let's say Wisconsin ever came calling. See, that would be a worry for me. It should be a worry for Coug fans. But as other people said, Citizen Salt, he's always a great contributor to the show, says can't afford to go to every game. That's right. I mean, I get it. I get the costs are a big deal over there. We detailed, it's not that season tickets are all that much. I mean, I pay for 4 tickets, I pay $1,000 for season tickets. And, and that's a donation to the school. That's a donation to the athletic fund. So the tickets aren't really a problem. And I've just given my tickets away to people because I get the cost of it over there. The problem is just staying there. I don't know if the school can get creative. I remember back in the day when they didn't have a full, full dorms, they used to rent out the dorms. And that seemed to be a solution. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I'm not sure if there is what the right solution is to get more people to go over there. But it does go noticed. It goes noticed by them. I don't know. I mean, Jarrett says everyone should rent an RV and go and camp nearby. But again, to that, there's nowhere to really camp nearby there. I mean, trust me. I can tell everyone where to go after 5 o'clock. And now I'll tell everyone that, and then they'll shut it down. But if you have an RV and want to camp over there, let's say you have like a Sprinter van, the baseball fields down by Rainey Park. After 5 o'clock, you're good to go. You can just camp there. Now, I've said it. Now watch them shut it down. Okay, watch them shut it down now. But after 5 o'clock down there, and if everyone knows what I'm talking about, the breweries down there, what am I? Paradise Creek Breweries down there. There's 2 baseball fields. That parking down there, you can park there after 5 o'clock. So I guess go there. But I don't know. I think one thing could be a solution. I don't know. I don't know if the solution to sell beer in the stadium would actually get people to go, as Brendan points out. I would say to Brendan, it won't hurt. What I found surprising why they don't sell beer inside the stadium. There's a couple of factors. One, which I've always thought was really the biggest factor. The infrastructure of Martin Stadium is not big. I mean, the concourses are not wide. I mean, it's pretty tight. Where do you put it at? Because if you start putting beer sales in there, now all of a sudden there's congestion. You can't get around anywhere there. You can't get around now, and there's like 30,000 people there. You start adding beer in there, it's going to be a bigger problem. All right. And then the other issue is if they do allow beer sales in Martin Stadium, they will not let you leave. So you can't leave anymore. And so you would be stuck in there. And I've heard that the biggest detractors from it, like if they were to do that and they would sell beer in there and they said you can't go back to the RVs anymore, I'd be okay, fine. That's okay. That's good for me. If it adds more revenue, whatever that revenue is, over $1 million, couple $1 million, whatever it would be a benefit, right? You're going to make money no matter what. But the biggest detractors of it have been the big donors, have been the alumni. And on the alumni, on the alumni side, right, on the student side, who, even despite, can go to the club section, some of them, these are even club members, and that sit over there, they want to go back to their RVs at halftime to go and hang out and have a few pops and then come back. That I've been told that they're the driving force, the biggest detractors of selling it in there, because if they do, then you're done. Can't come back in. And I think that would be a real problem for a lot of people. I think that's, that could be an issue. I don't know. I don't know whether the creative solutions they could come up with to get more people over there. But again, I get that people have real life issues going on. You got kids, you got families, everything. Like I said earlier, I'm not gonna come down on anyone and criticize people for not going over there, because listen, I don't go to every game because I can't, because you got a family, you got stuff going on. But it's an issue probably most schools face. But it's an issue over there that is, a big one. And I know they try to get creative with stuff, but it's just something that is hard. It's just real hard. You want to get over there. It's fun to go back, but it's also really, really expensive to go back there. And I just think people look at it and go, why would I spend $1,000 to $1,500? I mean, it's like, I'll go watch them play in San Diego. I'll go spend more money to go watch them play the Aztecs, for crying out loud. All right, so keep the comments rolling in. Love to hear the feedback on that one. Hey, the new, I changed the Twitter handle, by the way, and I know some people are like, hey, where'd you go? It's the same Twitter handle. Well, it's the same Twitter feed. It's just I changed the handle finally. I was able to get Puck Sports. So instead of Puck 2040. So if you're looking for it and you're like, God, where'd you go? It's just Puck Sports now. Puck Sports there on Twitter. Chris Egan will join us here coming up in a few minutes. I'm going to do something that it could be a train wreck coming up around 11:10. I'll send out a link. We're going to do a Friday mailbag. If you want to jump in on that conversation about, for Coug fans, why do you not go over there anymore? You want to ask a question about that or give a response to that or feedback or a comment on that one, we're going to open it up around 11:10. I'm going to send out a link to the stream. You can jump on there. I'll bring you on, and then we'll try to cycle through as many people as we can. We'll see if this is good, because if it's not good and it's bad, then we'll never do it again. But here's the deal. You got to always try something new. You got to always try something new. And again, because Jim's not here today, he's had to take his wife to the doctor, and then Troy, our handicapper, is not here as well. He's on a flight there with his family. So we'll open it up around 11:10 or so. Anything and everything. You can ask whatever you'd like. You got to do it on your computer. I would say do it on your phone, but then I got to tell you how to download the app. But the computer's the best way. So around 11:10-ish, 11:15, we'll do that. Before we talk to Egan, how about that Thursday night game? Boy, that delivered. You know, we get a lot of damn stinkers in the NFL Thursday night football. That was not it last night. That was a damn good football game. Two great quarterbacks, two fun teams, good fan bases, back and forth, and another controversial finish with officials because they're terrible. They really are. I mean, the NFL really has an officiating problem, and it's really awful, and it's been bad for many, many years now. But that was, I think, the first time I've seen 3 penalties that they did not call. One, the tight end on the 2-point conversion, he got tackled. Gesicki is being held everywhere. And then they miss an obvious, I mean, as much as this league protects the quarterback, because they do, as much as they do, hands to the face, I mean, he clearly hit his helmet. I mean, it was just obvious to everyone. How do you miss that? How do you miss that and then miss the, what was it a few weeks ago? Was that the Rams-Vikings game when they missed the face mask on Sam Darnold and missed that? I mean, these guys are just like, they're missing the most obvious stuff now that is happening. But it was a great game. Lamar Jackson was sensational in the fourth quarter. He damn near threw for 200 yards in the fourth quarter, 3 TDs in the fourth, passer rating of 158.3. And me and the Vampire were talking last night. We love Lamar Jackson. We have a sportsman crush on Lamar Jackson. And I've loved him for many, many years, not only just because he's a fantastic football player, but the dude has always got a permanent smile on his face all the time. Like, he just has a joy for playing football. And I think he has a joy for competing. And I think he's just this unbridled passion for his teammates and his team. And here's the one thing about Lamar Jackson. He's got the one thing that's missing from him, and that's just the playoff postseason resume. And it's gonna follow him until he fixes it. It's justified because he has not performed in the postseason. He's been poor in the postseason. He's had all this amazing regular season. The thing I find myself is, as a sports fan, pulling for him, because I like those stories. I like these stories where these guys, they go through these like peaks and valleys of their career. They're told they can never win the big one. And if they're good guys, for the most part, you at the end, you kind of pull for them to. I'd really like to see that guy, that sports story, break on through and finally win one. And that's where, that I'm at with Lamar Jackson. To the point in his career, because he has struggled as much as he has, and he's had so much playoff heartbreak, and not so much heartbreak, but also just like has not looked like the same player that he's looked in the regular season, that I find myself this year wanting him to finally like slay that postseason dragon, knock off Mahomes, get to the Super Bowl, and win it. Because, man, he's everything that's kind of right in the league. He's fun, he's exciting, he has a good time, he's a great teammate. You know, he plays, it's a stupid cliche, I hate when we do this, but it's true. He plays the game the right way, competes, plays hard, not an ass, just everything. He's a great role model, he's a great example, all of it. So I just find it's not like I don't like the Chiefs or and Patrick Mahomes and all that storyline or getting sick of it. It's just that, you look at Lamar and everything that he does, for the league, for that team, and I just want to see him finally break through. I felt that way. This you're going to hate me when I say this. I felt that way with John Elway. I know it's so bad. At the end, when Elway was playing the Packers in the Mike Holmgren Super Bowl, I was pulling for him because I'm like, this dude has been to so many Super Bowls, and he's lost them all. He's the best quarterback you ever seen. For God's sakes, just let him win it. So I'm rooting for Lamar Jackson. All right, He's ready. He's going to join us right now. Ladies and gentlemen from Puyallup, Chris Egan is with us, his weekly visit. He's up a little early for us. I asked him to jump on at 10:30. He prefers to be 10:30. He's more of a 10:30 guy than he is an 11 guy. It's all brought to you by Fatzach's Pizza, 3 locations in Sumner, Puyallup, and South Hill, home of the original No Big Dill Pickle Pizza. Book one of their 3 food trucks for catering, birthday parties, graduations, and corporate events. Find Fatzach's Pizza on Facebook, Instagram, and at fatzachspizza.com. Hey, can I ask you something, a quick question about gardening? Speaking of pickles, I did something the first time this year. We had a bunch of cucumbers I grew out in the garden, and I pickled them and canned them. Now, you got to wait like 30 days, right? 30 or 45 days before I think you crack into them. And I know that if I push down on the seal, which one is it? If it pushes down, it's bad. I can't remember now. Anyways, I'm leery to open them up and to see if they're okay, but I think I'm going to do it today.
Yeah, Puck, I would give it a try. I would refer to Barb Egan, who's a master canner for this question. So maybe we can have Barb join us for one of the shows. I'm not a big canner. I love the garden. I'm going to wrap up my, anybody out there right now, bulbs are on sale 50% off at most stores right now. The ground is not froze yet, so get some bulbs, get those in right now. You're gonna thank me when springtime comes around and the tulips and the daffodils are just taking over and your yard looks awesome. You do the hard work now, it's gonna pay off springtime, and your wife is gonna love you for it.
I'm gonna go. I think when I'm done here, I'm gonna go open up one of the cans and see if it works.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the worst thing that happened? I get sick.
Yeah, well, yeah. I would just let the wife know. Hey, I'm gonna try some pickles. So if something goes wrong, and she takes you to the hospital, at least they know that's what they're dealing with.
What if I ask her? Why don't you try my pickle?
I think that's a good way to start off the day or the evening. I'm excited for your. I didn't know you were a canner. I'm excited about that. I loved your talk
first time I did it. First time.
Yeah. Well done. I loved your talk about Lamar Jackson.
I love Lamar.
I have 2 fantasy teams, Puck. One, the Big Gooey Ducks. One called the Puyallup Hot Scones. Both teams right now are in first place. The Big Gooey Ducks, I've got Lamar, I've got Henry, and I've got Zay Flowers on that team. The Puyallup Hot Scones from the King 5 League, also in first place. That one's a little tougher with my quarterback situation. I've got Murray, who could put 30 on the board, or he can put 4 points on the board for you. But I'm loaded up with wide receivers there. It's a good year right now. Knock on wood, both fantasy teams in first place. That doesn't happen.
No one cares about your fantasy team.
Oh, I think a lot of people do. Do
you find yourselves though, like rooting for like these stories now? Like I want him to win. Like I want Lamar Jackson to get through like this playoff barrier he's been in his career and win a championship. Like I like these kind of stories.
I do too. I kind of am on that AFC side. Find myself rooting. It's kind of the same story for Buffalo and Josh Allen, and then Lamar Jackson. I think it's just like, gosh, it would be nice to see him make it in there. We've watched this guy and we've watched him very close and hasn't got there. But I think this year's team, Baltimore, has. I mean, the ingredient. That's why they went for 2 in that game last night, because Baltimore gets the ball back 38 seconds, with that offense, that's not a problem to get down the field and get a field goal there. But I love this team with Derrick Henry and Lamar and Zay and the rest of the gang. I mean, they're going to be a tough out this year, and could be the year. Could be the year for Lamar Jackson. You may be right.
Could it be the year for the Seahawks? Are we done? Are we done already? I mean, the Seahawks are done, right? Can we say that? Well, I guess we can't really say it yet, but it feels done, doesn't it?
It just hasn't felt good. It just hasn't.
It has not felt good, man.
It's just. I mean, and I go back. Everybody's talking about these last 2 games, Puck. Just how miserable both of them have been. But I go back even further. I go to that Giants game, and I think that should have been like the point where everybody's like. Because you were dealing with a team that was using backups, and we could not beat that Giants team with their backup running back. So it's just like, at that point, I know it was very early for anybody to hit the panic button, but I think if you would have went back, we should have hit the panic button. And then the big question mark, everybody's talking about the quarterback, change the quarterback. Here's the deal.
No
Puck.
one's talking about changing a quarterback other than Jim Moore because he wants to win $250, for God's sakes.
Well, Jim Moore's, the main backer of this initiative. That's not on a ballot right now.
It is an initiative that he wants to put on a ballot.
But here it is. I just go to basic. Go watch a junior high football game. What are the teams that do well? Are the teams where the quarterback has more than 3 seconds to step back and throw a ball? They literally are. I've seen some of the greatest athletic high school quarterbacks and junior high quarterbacks just look awful because they have no offensive line. And I think we're seeing that right now. Obviously, Geno made that second interception was just, I'm still cringing about that one. But, he does not have a lot of time back there, Puck. And that's why they can't run the ball. Not because
it's the answer, but it's the. I mean, I know we're gonna get into some junior high football here in a little bit, but like, it's the thing at any level of football. I mean, it's just not. It's not hard to when you start looking at teams and why do they struggle and or why they're good. I mean, football's not complicated. Like I say this all the time. We overcomplicate sports so much. God, we do. And for football, it's the all 22 guys, and it's in baseball, it's the analytics. It's just not that. And whatever the equivalent in soccer, whatever that is, it's not that hard.
Well,
breaking down like all 22. You don't want to. I just want someone. Is the offensive line good? Okay, if it is, then the offense is going to be good. Yeah, because the offensive line lets everything else happen.
And there's your transition, Puck. For me, is the high school playoffs begin tonight. The high school playoffs begin tonight. You and I have been just a big fan of high school football for a long time. And the best team in the state of Washington is the Bellevue Wolverines. They have one.
And why?
And they have one lineman, Puck, that's going to the University of Oregon, one that's going to USC. The other three are big. They got, do they have Warren Moon's kid as a running back? Do they have other kids? Yes, they have like 5 or 6 running backs that score touchdowns. But, heck, I hate to say this. I could have probably got handed off the ball the other night they were playing and probably had a nice 20-yard gain. I mean, these guys, you get behind an O-line, and it moves the chains. And that's It's just so simple, but yet we sit there and like, what are maybe we got to get Geno out of there. He can't do what? Why is DK not running his routes better? It starts with the line.
What's wrong with Ryan Grubb? I mean, my God. I mean, it's is Ryan Grubb not calling the a good enough plays? No, it's because the line stinks. That's why. Yeah. It just does. Like I couldn't believe. I tuned in as we get ready for the championship games coming up. I tuned into a Bellevue game and watched some highlights of a game a few weeks ago. I could not believe how big that offensive line was. It's massive. Huge. Yeah. And it's not your dad's Bellevue Wolverines anymore. Where they ran and the reason and any team runs the wing tee is because you're undersized. You're an undersized kids, so you run the wing tee because there's confusion, trickeration with it. You don't know where the ball is, but you have small, quick offensive linemen. That's how it originally started. If you go back and look at like Butch Gontraub's first, Bellevue teams, none of those guys were big. And then was it Schilling? Steve Schilling comes around and he's like the first big one. These guys now, they are massive. I mean, massive individuals, and they're fast and they're running all over the place and they're athletic. And it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable to watch.
It's simple football 101. I mean, get an offensive line and move it down the field, and that's exactly what they do. I think when you get to the NFL, you see some teams where it's pretty even, but it's not even right now for the Seattle Seahawks. Puck, we know that the offensive line is not good. And Puck, I don't want to put you on the spot, but when was the last time we had a Pro Bowl? All-pro offensive lineman on the Seahawks team. I'm drawing a blank.
Dwayne Brown. Yeah. Dwayne Brown was the last one. Dwayne Brown was the last one. I just did this, and then the last one. Dwayne Brown was the last one in 2021 or 2020 or 2020, and that was a trade though. The last one he drafted was Russell Okung in like 2013. I mean, it's just, that's part of the reason. I've discussed this a lot, and I like John Schneider. I mean, I want John Schneider to continue to be the GM, and he's a good guy, and he's done a lot of great things. But I mean, my God, I mean, the inability to build this offensive line for a decade is the reason why we're stuck here. And Chris, I don't know where they go from here. Like, this team is not that far off. They compete every week.
Yeah.
They really are a few plays away from, okay, what are they, 4-5? I mean, I close my eyes and say they could be 6-3.
Well,
if a few more things go right for them. But then I would say this, like, how close are they to winning a championship? Because it's all about winning a championship, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So how close are they to that? They don't have the quarterback of the future. He's 35 years old. And I like Geno, but how much money are you going to spend on him in the offseason? And then you got DK Metcalf's going to go in the final year of his contract. He's going to want $140 million. But yet you get those guys, you're going to spend money on that in a league that has a cap. And then you're going to be like, we still haven't fixed the offensive line. So it's great you have the quarterback for another year or two and a wide receiver at 28 that's locked up for $140 million. But if you've got no one to actually block, they're going to have the same problems.
And it's interesting. Yes, it is all about the championship. And when you're talking about that, I just get more and more frustrated because Seahawks, Mariners, similar yet different. And I'm talking about this seasons, because we looked at, the Mariners season is over, but this was the year, they should have won their division because Houston was down. They had the 10-game lead. And then you look at this Mariners team. Why did we get frustrated? Because a lot of us believe with that pitching staff, if they did get in the playoffs, they could have made a run for the championship. Now the frustration with the Seahawks is this is the year to win the division. 49ers were missing McCaffrey for a little while. I mean, it was like the Arizona Cardinals, really, they're the first place team. I mean, the division is down. But to your point is, I agree with you. I'm like, this team could win the NFC West, but what happens when they get in the playoffs with that offensive line? You just can't fix that overnight. You're not going to add it. I mean, it's just
okay.
It's
so
not good,
Divish asked a great this week's show. Divish asked me a great question, and somebody says on our chat that our former station has ripped off the question. But hey, that's okay. It doesn't matter.
Hey, you know what is it? Copy is flattery. If people,
it's
imitation
is flattery. That's
sure.
Okay. That's okay. Thanks for Joe for pointing that out. So Divish asked me a great question on the show this week. What Seattle professional team is closest to winning a championship? And so these were the teams, though: Seahawks, Mariners, Kraken, and then the Husky football team. Because,
so he took the Sounders out because Smetzer has them rolling right now.
We took the Sounders and the Storm out.
Okay.
How would you answer that?
I honestly, Puck, would answer that right now and say the Mariners. I really would, because of that. You still have to this date, in my mind, a very good pitching staff that I would love to see in a postseason. I would love to see a manager work those 5 pitchers, and get Brash back, get Munoz back. Obviously, you've got to score runs to win and get into the playoffs, but in my mind, I think the Mariners are still the closest. And it's funny. It's a great question. And for how much we have bashed and people have bashed the Mariners, I agree with Divish on this one.
I know. That's what, right when he asked me the question and he was leading me up to it, I was like, the Mariners. And he's like, I know. It's unbelievable to think about it, that it's actually them. And we're all of us are right because, and I don't know, like, what the commentary is on the other teams that they are the ones that are actually the closest. But what you just said there is what Divish and I said. None of these other teams can claim to have the best something in the sport. They've got the best pitching, the best starting staff in baseball. They do.
Arguably, Puck, one of the best catchers in baseball. Arguably one of the best catchers.
The best catcher in baseball.
Yeah.
Let's actually take it a step further. They have the best pitching staff in baseball and the best catcher in baseball.
Best catcher,
what the Seahawks have. They don't have anything the best of. Nothing. Right?
I mean, you got the best up-and-coming young receiver in Jackson Smith and Jigga, but that I mean, I'm making up categories now. But
what do the Kraken have? The best what?
I'm getting to know this team a little bit better every week. I mean,
get Furness to give you an update on it. Who do they got? They got. You know what? I know what the Kraken have. I know what they have. They've got the best studio host in all of the NHL.
Ian Furness, yes.
No,
who's
no,
on? I believe
Linda Cohn.
Will be on King 5 TV tonight.
Linda Cohn's better than Ian. Everybody knows that. No, they got Ian. Ian's the best.
The first time, by the way, Puck, a shout out to Ian. I was sitting in the Kraken locker room yesterday, and I was doing a couple of interviews, and they said, "Hey, you want to talk to this guy?" And the guy was in charge of the skates. He goes, "I exclusively only talk to Ian Furness," and I'm like, "I'm going to let Ian have this exclusive then with you." Yeah. So hey,
so the Kraken have that. So we'll give them that. They got the best studio host in Ian Furness. All right. So then the the Huskies they're not the best at anything. They're the best at telling you about, past championships probably.
Yeah. And they travel a lot right now. They're traveling.
They travel.
A lot of travel miles.
They got the best coach with a visor.
You know what? I can't stand these travel stories. I'm sorry, Puck. You know what? It's not like they're sitting in the middle seat and they're waiting through security lines and they're panicked. They got their 2- and 3-year-olds, left and right of them. It's like we make these travel stories. I'm sorry.
Okay.
They travel in luxury, most of these teams.
Wait, so you don't like for the Husky football team, you don't think it's a big deal?
I think people overdo this. Honestly, I really do. I don't know.
Are they all sitting in are these big football players all sitting in the same row together though? I mean, that's kind of would be miserable.
Well, I guess I haven't traveled with the UW football team, so maybe I'm jumping to conclusions. But I have traveled with youth sports teams, and you know what? We got there, got in the pool, had Applebee's for dinner, and we played just fine. So I think we, I think we're overdoing
Applebee's.
It a little. I mean, Puck. To be fair, there's like over 1,000 kids driving to Pasco as we speak right now for the state cross country championships. They're going to be staying in like Holiday Inns with like 8 people in one room. They're going to be waking up, having, the free, hotel breakfast. So they'll be fighting over waffle scraps and, just eggs that really aren't eggs and bacon that's been cooked since 3 a.m. And you know what? They're going to go out and they're going to compete and run a cross-country state championship. And they're not going to whine. They're actually going to go out there and they're going to do pretty good. So shout out to the cross-country kids. Yeah.
Is there a line? Is there a wait time longer than the hotel waffle bar maker line?
Not during a state championship, no. In fact, I have a new
so
thing
long that you go to the little fridge to get the YoPlay yogurt. That's why it's so damn long.
I have a new travel policy with my wife. When she does she jogs on, we can get this hotel. This is the cheapest. I said, cross it off because that's where all the teams are going to be. Find me something $10 more somewhere else. I mean, not only you got to deal with the wait line at the waffle bar. They usually only have 2 elevators, and you got the junior high kids hitting every single button, and it's just like, come on. So
it's anarchy. Those trips, man. Those youth sports trips. Wherever you go, like if you go out of state or you're staying in state, like when all those kids are staying at one hotel, I mean, it is like Lord of the Flies. And, I feel bad for the people that work there because they're just like, my God, what the F? I mean, kids are running around at night and they're knocking on people's doors. The older kids are staying up late, like in the lobby, and they're screwing around, jumping in the pool and making out and all, just everything. I mean, it's parents are outside by the pool. I mean, shit faced. I mean, it's just. It's spring. It's like a family spring break. These youth trips, man. Jesus, you got couple swapping. I mean, well, maybe not that.
What's going on?
I mean, really?
Oh man, it is
all the deliveries, all the food deliveries, and they're screwing it up. I've got 15 pizzas for a John.
Yeah.
15 pizzas for a John.
And then you have the parents, and I'm dealing with it already. We just started basketball season. I got soccer season going on that apparently believe I'm a full-time basketball, like I'm being paid $100,000 to coach this basketball team because you got hey, Coach Chris, the uniforms aren't in. Why aren't they in? They're not in. That's I already had to pull the line in second practice this week. It's the first week of basketball. Second practice, it was too early for me, but I did the old line, Puck. You ready for this one? We're all copping a little attitude here, guys. Let me just go ahead and get my checkbook out and let you know that I'm willing to pay the price it costs you to be on this team, and I'll give the check to you, and you hand it to your parents, and you're done.
Jesus. Are these 7th graders, 8th graders?
They're 8th graders now. Just had a couple kids. I told them on Monday, bring the reversible jersey, Puck. I said it 3 times. 3 kids didn't bring the reversible jersey to the second practice. You kind of need that when you're doing basketball. You got 2 teams. And they're over there like, and I'm like.
So this is the middle school team?
Yeah, I told the assistant coaches, please just back off for a second. Coach Chris is gonna take over here.
So did they not have coaches, or did you want to do this?
This is going to be kind of my last year. It's a fine line. They don't have coaches, and this is my, I think, 23rd year of doing it. So I'm like, you know what?
23rd year of coaching middle school basketball?
Not middle school basketball.
Okay.
23rd year of coaching youth sports. So yeah. I think this is probably the last because my son's an 8th grader. And so he'll be going into the 9th grade next year. And so that's high school takes over.
And you don't want to be coaching you don't want to be the guy that's coaching some other kids that aren't yours. That starts to get a little weird and might be a little creepy. I bring this up because I'm getting a bunch of parents because our middle school doesn't have any coaches for basketball.
Oh, okay.
And I'm getting this from every parent. Hey, Jason, have you seen that they're looking for coaches? And, what about you? I mean, would you like to coach? Like, I'm getting it all over the place.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm going to probably do it, but I don't want to coach like the varsity team or the JV. I want to coach like the JVC team, because like all the 6th graders, because my son's a 6th grader.
Yeah,
like, I'll coach that team, but I don't want to coach the other teams. But I want somebody else to step up to do it, because what I don't want which is just remarkable to me. I thought the teachers were the ones that were supposed to coach these kids, but okay. But it's remarkable because what I don't want is to these kids, let's say there's 30 or 40 of these kids, to not be able to play basketball this winter, because they don't have any coaches.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to do it, but it's like, come on, really? Like, has this always been a problem? Like, because when I was a kid,
it's getting worse. Puck, what's happening is it's getting worse because nobody wants to deal with parents anymore, and this is happening with officials. And I know this kind of seems like a broken record here, but it is happening. And the thing, I just don't put up with anything. So I mean, it's worked for me, but this is going to be my last year. This is
why it's your last year.
I make it pretty, like you don't need to be at practice. You won't be at practice when they're in high school, so you don't need to be here crocheting during practice.
That's been a rule 1 since Little League for me. Like, hey, you don't need to be here. Like, it's
not good for your kids' development to have mom and dad staring at them and coaching from the sideline. So there's some rules I have, and I love it. I think I've got better through the years, and it's going to be sad when it's over. So I'm just enjoying every moment of it. But
is it a thing like at your middle school, right? Like where you guys are in Puyallup?
We're lucky. We have some incredible coaches in our middle school, and so all the teachers coach in the middle school. In fact, speaking of that, Puck, it was probably the scariest moment of my parenthood. Just happened 2 days ago. The Blue Bruins, the junior high team, which has some great coaches, head coach Coug, and then our offensive coordinator is a young man by the name of Darren Erath, who was
quarterback,
2-time, played in the King Bowl twice, was one of the best quarterbacks in Western Washington University history. He's the offensive coordinator, and my kid is not the biggest kid. He plays on defense and sporadically on offense. He's the backup quarterback, and they're in a tight game. They're 5-0. They need to win to get the junior high championship, and it's tight game at halftime. And apparently, Coach Erath draws up some play. We got a good little quarterback where my son takes off down the right side, and they're just hoping that he's going to be open because they're not expecting him to be there. And sure enough, quarterback drops back, pump fakes, throws deep. Luke Egan hauls it in, 70-yard pickup on the play. The place is going wild. Like his grandma and grandpa are cheering. My wife's going crazy. I hear people looking at me like, hey, Big Mac, big catch. And then the moment, Puck, that is just like everybody's celebrating. And all of a sudden you just see a pile and you see little number 4, probably the smallest guy on the field. He got taken out by a couple of big guys.
Yeah.
Legal tackles, but he's just laying flat on the ground.
Yeah.
And you're just like, and I see my wife like, go. And it's just like, it's that moment where I hadn't experienced that with the other two. And I'm kind of not running, but I'm going to him and everything's in slow motion and you're just watching him and there's no movement. What happened was the ball was underneath his chest when the kid landed on him. He lost, he
got the wind knocked out of him.
Got the wind knocked out of him, was freaked out. The best thing is the head coach got all the way over there, I found out. And then he realized what happened. and he stayed on the ground. And the coach goes, did you get the wind knocked out of you, Luke? He goes, yeah. He goes, just stay here for 5 more seconds because I just ran all the way over here. So don't get up quite yet.
It's scary. It's because for Luke, is that his first year of football?
He played last year. So, he's when you get to junior high, the big kids do well. He's not a huge kid. My hope is he gives it all up for pickleball and just plays pickleball. But he loves basketball, soccer, football. Football's a
great sport, man.
It's incredible team sport. It's
the best.
I love it when he says, Dad, can I, take the bus home? And I'm like, yeah, take the bus home. Yeah, you want to ride home with your team and all that
It's
stuff.
the best team sport that we have. I mean, listen, I know they're all great. I mean, every one of them is a great team sport. Because you do all have to work together at some point, in every team sport. That one more than any of them. And I always tell my kid, I always tell Owen that, listen, so he played last year, so 5th, 6th grade. So last year was his first year at 10. I go, dude, if you can get through a football practice and stay with it all year, you will any other practice you ever do, whether it's basketball or baseball, those are the sports he plays, will be the easiest thing in the world. Because there is nothing like you start practice in August and it's, 85, 90 degrees outside. You're running around in those damn pads. You're exhausted. And then you end the season, in 40-degree rain and mud. It's miserable. And I said, if you can just get through those 2-hour practices, like, once we start basketball or baseball, because you know what, like baseball practice is fun. Honestly, it's the
you gotta hit ball, throw ball,
hit the ball. We're playing Iron Man at the end of practice. I mean, everyone's goofing off. Everyone's scratching their balls and spitting. I mean, it's just fun. And basketball for the most part is, it can be tiring, but what do you do for basketball practice most of the time? You scrimmage.
Yeah, you do.
Well, that's fun.
I know it is fun. Like I saw our practice last night, and I'm like, well, why is anybody copping an attitude? This is fun. We're scrimmaging.
Yeah.
You could be home working.
So it's just, but it's scary. Like when at first time, you see your kid, get laid out. I've seen it. I've seen it happen to one of our kids, not my kid. I mean, Owen was getting, knocked around a lot too this year, but like we had a kid it was a real scary incident, and he had gotten blocked in the shoulder pads. The chest plate had gone all the way up into his throat. Okay. And the way he was being driven back. So when he went down on the ground, he couldn't breathe. Okay. And so we're running over there. Our coach is running over there and he's panicking because the kid cannot catch his breath. And then like his eyes are kind of like going back in his head. And it was like, and we had to, and thank God the other team we were playing had a, medical personnel there. So they come running over and like, man, this is when Like, it gets real. You're like, because you don't know what's going on. You know if he's having some type of episode. All sports are dangerous. Football does inherently have some danger to it. And then he gets over there, and the doctor immediately just goes, okay, what happened? Gets the, he asks the kid, can you cough? And he coughs. He goes, okay, you're fine. He goes, you got your esophagus just kind of trampled on, and you're going to be okay. But like for like a minute or two, yeah, man.
You're freaking out. You're
freaking out. I mean, not only as coaches, right? Because it's not my kid, but they're all kind of your kids, right? When you're coaching them. And then the parents are running over, and but it's football is, I know it's not for everyone, and
But you're right, Puck. It is the ultimate team sport. I would also say in the U.S., it is the ultimate community involvement sport.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we'll see tonight. Let's begin in the 4A. I think the favorite to win in the 4A would be Camas, and Sumner not too far behind them. It's pretty wide open in the 4A, but take these two schools and go to Camas and Sumner on a Friday night. Place is absolutely packed at both of these places. I mean, the environment, Camas, you're going to go win at Camas. You better be very, 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 very good, because
I was there last year for a game watching Skyview, the old Skyview Storm play there. Yeah.
So, I mean, these in the 4A ranks, those are the two to beat. In 3A, you're kind of dealing with a couple of the privates, O'Day and Eastside Catholic, who've just built a pretty good tradition. But in my mind, Bellevue is the team to beat. But one of the two of the teams in that 3A, Monroe and Enumclaw, just incredible home community environments that they both have, and that's why I love this game, because nobody cares about your religion, your politics, and all that. It brings the community together, and that's why I think it's very important, and I think it's an ultimate team sport. Like you said, football's not for everybody. The bigger kids succeed. 2A ranks, Puck. I think Tumwater is bound for another state championship. It's funny watching NFL.
Same thing when I was 8 years old. It's always Tumwater.
I mean, there's the tradition, that the T-Bird tradition that just keeps on rolling.
Yeah, unbelievable.
You see these kids in the NFL, the Otten boys, and what they're doing.
You know what? Can I stop you there? When I'm watching the other day, and they're talking, all this stuff about Kate Otten, and I'm just like, God, you know what? And not like they would research this, but Kate Otten's a good football player, all right?
Yeah.
I mean, a really good tight end. It would have been cool if someone on that ESPN broadcast would have dug a little deeper on it, if someone would have fed him, like, you should do a story, like, on the royalty that is his family back in Washington. Yeah. Because it's absolutely high school football royalty. Like, that Otten name, when you hear that, you're like, oh, an Otten. It's like, probably a Tuiasosopo, but that Otten name, especially down there, is just, I mean, it's everything.
His dad, his grandpa, arguably the greatest coach in high school history. I think they're in the running. Don't count out, Linden and Archbishop Murphy, and I also do not count out the defending state champs. We're talking about small towns and community coming together. Anacortes won the championship last year. They'll be back. And Puck, we love to go into the small schools because I know you love the names. I think when you're talking 1A, it's the gateway to the Palouse. You've got to go through Royal to get to Washington State University. I think Royal is definitely the team
Royal.
To beat. In the 2B, Asotin, am I saying that correctly, Puck? Asotin?
I think so. But I know you're talking Asotin. Yes, I think you're correct.
Asotin, and this could be the year Toledo. This could be the year
I don't know if
Toledo.
It's Toledo's year. I don't know. Could be.
And I know in the 1B, everybody knows the schools Liberty Christian and Nia Bay, but Puck, nobody enjoys a 3-school name more than you. So watch out. In the 1B, this could be the year for Wilbur Creston Keller to bring home the state title. Not to one town, but to 3.
And I go by there, and I'll be going by there tomorrow off Highway 26.
Did they not call Wilbur Creston Keller the Tri-Cities? Why did Pasco?
I love going to those one. I love going and watch like Nia Bay play. I love that guy. They're the best. They still play 8-man. It's still 8-man, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Nia Bay, I love 8-man football. I used to when I was in college. I was the voice of the Moscow Bears, by the way. They were not 8-man football. But then when the playoffs came around that area, we would do 8-man football from some of those smaller towns, and it was just if no one has ever seen 8-man football, it is sensational how much fun it is.
I did a story when I was at KOBI TV in Medford, Oregon, and I think this was probably 1998 on a 8-man football team. It was Powers High School, somewhere in the center of Oregon. I think it's somewhere near Eugene. I can't even remember. But
sure.
The kids as a fundraiser, it was a logging community, so the kids would go out and help their dads log to raise money for the football program.
I bet they weren't strong at all.
No, they won a few state titles.
Oh, I'm going to give you if you ever can find your way down there, and I don't know if they still do this. One of the coolest things when I was working on the coast out of Astoria, we would call games in Napa, Oregon.
Oh, okay.
And Napa, Oregon. Napa has got this it's a logging community right on the coast, small, blue collar. But they've got this incredible basketball history, both boys and girls. And they're always constantly, every year, I don't know where they have the state championship anymore. Back in the day, it was in Pendleton. And they would always be in it. And so I would call a few games. Chris, I'm telling you, you love this stuff. It's the best high school stadium or high school a gym.
Is that spelled KNAPPA?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Okay.
KNAPPA. They've got the old. Remember maybe Auburn High School still has it. Remember Auburn High School? They had the balcony wraparound.
Yes, they do not now, but I do remember that.
So Napa has that, or did have it. So you would call the game from up like in a treehouse almost.
Oh,
and the best part about, and the place is packed. The whole town comes there. It's all these blue collar loggers. You're like, they don't even look like basketball fans, right? And then the gym, their locker room, it is under the floor. So when they come out, it's like a storm, like a storm area. What am I like a basement? So when they come out, the door opens off the baseline, and they're coming up from underneath.
Underneath wow.
It's unbelievable. It's the coolest thing in the world.
That's almost like Hoosiers when they were tucked underneath in one of the gyms they were at.
Just great. Yeah.
By the way, Hoosiers brings me to my next part of this segment, Puck. I know we're going long today, but I need your help because the wife, Puck, there's Hoosiers right there.
Greatest
one
movie
of the greatest movies of all time. You can't forget, Braveheart there.
Yeah.
One of my favorites. Remember the Titans.
Yes. Great.
Can't go wrong with Sandlot.
Classic.
And then, one of my favorites, Bueller's Day Off. And why I'm showing you these, Puck, is the wife says it's time to clean up the house a little bit.
Time to get rid of them.
And she's like, you've got a lot of these DVDs and you've got a lot of CDs out in the garage. Well, my first thing is, why do you care what's in the garage? That's my area back there in that corner of the garage. Well, you don't play them. I don't know why we have them. Same thing with these. You're not playing them. Why do we have them? Why am I having so much troubles, Puck, getting rid of these? I just don't want to let them go. I don't want to let them go. I know
don't let them. Then don't let them go.
But why am I having troubles?
Because it's nostalgia. That's why.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to. You want to have something. It's why I read a newspaper every day too. I like having touching the physical newspaper. That makes sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Opening it up, looking at the scores. Yeah.
I love it. It's part of the cool thing about it. And I think for you, it's cool to have that physical DVD. Right?
Wonderful sports movie, Hoosiers Works Magic by Roger Ebert.
Oh.
2 thumbs up. Oh, when life was easy. We could just go to
was
Blockbuster.
Easy, wasn't
go
it?
Go to Blockbuster and pick out a movie and come home, get a little popcorn, a little Boston Market. If you're really
my God. Did you say Boston Market? Is there still a Boston Market anywhere?
No, they're gone, Buck. They're gone.
I think they got rid of that.
Yeah, they did. I love my kid. We have the big game, and I said, "Where do you want to go to dinner?" He's like, "How about a little pho, Dad?" And I'm like, "Can't we? We're gonna have soup."
I love pho. Did you say
I mean,
pho? It's called pho.
Pho. Okay.
God almighty. You sound more like you're from Puyallup, and you say, let's go have some pho.
We had some meatball pho the other night.
Yeah, I don't get the meatball one. I always get the chicken one.
Yeah, Luke went chicken. I went meatball. The wife went tofu.
Of course she did. Of course she did. Yeah, why did she do that? Hey, I want to play you something. You're going to get a kick out of this. So, before you go, Coastal ESPN every Thursday goes to like a campus of where they're going to do their Thursday night football game. So yesterday was Coastal Carolina, right? And so it's like game day, but on Thursday, right? And so they went there and they brought on the Coastal Carolina coach for a segment, and his name is Tim Beck. Look at this guy get after it, this Tim Beck. Look at this guy. There he is in the middle with the jacket, with the greenish jacket. So they're about to pound some beers, right?
Okay.
Why not?
I probably can't do this on the high school big game.
No. Watch this guy, though.
I can hear the bosses now. You know,
watch how quickly he gets this beer down. Watch him.
Oh, wow.
Look at him. Now wait for it. Now wait for it. He throws it out. He just cranks it. He just cranks it on his head. That's awesome.
That's why, Puck, I don't go out with the youngins at work anymore, because that's me. Because they start chanting and they're like,
well, you're a little Frank the Tank.
Frank the Tank. Next thing you know, you're streaking through Seattle, and then you realize you're just at a Ballard bike race. And you're fine. Don't they have one every year?
Yes, that Ballard bike race is phenomenal, man. It is a phenomenal shit show, that bike race, man. These guys are the best part about that bike race. These guys are whizzing in and out of these small, tiny streets, Chris. All right. And I'm telling you, people are so drunk they're walking in the street. I'm like, dude, you're gonna get hit. What are you guys doing?
Oh man!
There's nothing better than that bike race, and then the Santa de Mai parade. That thing gets a little loose.
That gets,
that gets a little loose at night. Yeah.
You Ballard folks.
Well, we Ballard folks, we like to, once you cross over, man, once you cross over that bridge, Chris, there's no going back. You're home.
Once you make it over the Ballard locks. You're home.
Oh, yeah. Ballard locks. Once the bridge, you're done. Like no one ever wants to leave. All right, we've kept you for too long. So where are you out anywhere tonight?
I'm gonna go watch Hoosiers for a couple hours. Then I'm gonna get ready for the big game. And Puck, tonight the big game finally returns to the Heartland, Carl Sparks Stadium in downtown. It has been 2.5 years, Puck. Since I've had the easy commute to Spark Stadium tonight. Actually going to be a good little playoff game. Emerald Ridge, home of the Jags. Former players include Jake Skockle, who's now at Eastern Washington, Denzel Boston, who plays for the University of Washington. Skockle plays for Eastern. They're going to be taking on the Chateau from the Plateau is driving down to Puyallup tonight. The Skyline Spartans, Sparta, is coming into P-Town tonight. So it's gonna be a battle in Puyallup. I'm already getting a lot of texts from my friends up at Skyline. Chris, where do we eat before the game? And I'm like,
Fatzach's Pizza is where you eat.
Well, I may be live there at 5:45. We'll see. Yeah.
That's it, right? That's exactly where you should be. You should be live at Fatzach's Pizza.
Kitty corner. Yep, kitty corner from Spark Stadium.
Well, this year, kind of like the crossover games. Next week is they'll seed the 16 teams next week, right?
They've seeded. These are the 32. Draws 32, so we're underway.
Okay.
So we're underway. So this is 32, drops to 16. So I think last week was more of the crossover stuff. So this week, the tournament is basically you win, you move on, you lose, you're out. I don't know if they reseed. They call this week playoffs. They call next week state playoffs. It's playoffs. I mean, you
well,
win.
good
you
luck.
move
I talked about this yesterday. There was a guy from UNLV who was works in their football program and he tweeted something out. I read it yesterday about how, hey, to all the kids that are be playing in their final football games this weekend, take it in, savor the walking on the turf, the sound of the cleats on the ground, the smell of it, what your coach says before the game, after the game, because for 90% of these kids,
it's it. Yeah,
this is it. This is the last time they'll ever put on the helmet, and last time they're ever going to sit on a bus after a game. Those are special times, man. I remember what that was like. So do you. And it was it's awesome. And so for all the kids out there, just take it in.
I'm going to say this, Puck, too. I think that's a great point to the kids, but I'm also going to say this. And I know every parent out there or grandparent is maybe under a different work situation.
Yeah.
But please find a way. Just find a way to get to that game so your kid can look up and see you in the stands. And I know some of you are off traveling. I know these moments are hard. I've been there. I've been in Korea at the Olympics when my daughter's punching her ticket to the state championships in basketball. It is not easy. But if you are around, if you are somewhere in the vicinity, you can take a long dinner break. If you can do something, just find a way to get to these games, because you're never going to have those moments again. And like the kids, this is it. So
I agree.
Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Yep.
Well said. All right, Chris, we'll talk to you next week. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, buddy. Bye.
There he is, Chris Egan, King 5. Chris Egan joins us every single Friday, brought to you by Fatzach's Pizza. 3 locations in Sumner, Puyallup, and South Hill, home of the original No Big Dill Pickle Pizza. Book one of their 3 food trucks for catering, birthday parties, graduations, and corporate events. Find Fatzach's Pizza on Facebook, Instagram, and fatzachspizza.com. I tweeted out the link. If you have a Friday mailbag question, get it in. If you want to join, you can get it in right now before we leave and before we sign off bottom of the hour. We still have Hey What the Puck to get to. Also Friday voicemail. So I can sneak in a few if you'd like to jump on. If not, it's okay. We knew this was just going to be an experiment here with Friday mailbag, but you got to take a stab in the dark. We've tweeted out the link there on Twitter at Puck Sports, also in the chat as well. That's on YouTube and on Twitter. So you can go there. For those who are streaming and listening on the Puck Sports mobile app, I guess you can't participate because there's no way for you to, quote, call in. But if you have any reactions to the things we've talked about today and also what we've talked about this week, big discussion about the home attendance for Coug fans, which has, been a big deal. The question that Divish asked earlier about which Seattle team is closest to winning a championship. And again, I asked the same question to Egan, and we all agree. It's the Mariners. As crazy as it sounds, it's actually the Seattle Mariners are the closest team to winning a championship. All right. Friday voicemails. We're still going to do it despite Jim not being here today. We've got to do it because it's a tradition that we try to do it every single Friday. We've got 2 voicemails today on Friday voicemails. One, we've got Rob Staten has checked in on Friday voicemails. Also, Dick Vitale. And also, before we sign off, Puck's Posse community member, we're going to give away our first prize package of $100, which is $50 to John Howie Steak, $25 to Flat Stick Pub, and $25 to Georgetown Brewery. We're going to do that at the end of the show. So listen for your name to be called. For one of the people that have signed up already, we're going to give away a prize package of $100 every single month. I think probably for the next year is what I'm going to do it for. And so sign up if you want to win a $100 prize package, which $50 goes to John Howie Steak, $25 to Georgetown Brewery, and $25 to Flat Stick Pub. All you got to do is sign up for the Puck's Posse community membership. There's a QR code on the stream. That will take you there. You can also go to pucksports.com, and at the top of my website, you will see a link to join Puck's Posse community membership, which will bring you exclusive content coming up, bringing back the return of Dynamic Duos, which will be a 4-part series starting in a few months. And then also we'll be having our Mariners off-season wrap-up show that will include Ryan Divish and Adam Jude. Also, Jim Duquette is back on. He's going to sign up for it, and Bill Kruger and Brad Adam. We're going to have like a 2-hour extravaganza, and we'll make that off-season show, our episode, just available to our Puck's Posse community membership. So go there, sign up at pucksports.com, and we're going to announce our first winner here at the end. Let's get to voicemails here. Friday voicemails. Again, Rob Staten and Dick Vitale.
Puck, it's Rob Staten checking in from across the pond. So I'm sitting here trying to enjoy the daily Puck drop when all of a sudden this geezer starts banging on about Ben Dorgan and why his dog should be able to take a shit in his neighbor's yard without penalty. Well, look, I know us Brits are polite, but you need to find yourself a proper co-host, Puck. Anyway, time for me to resume studying the Seahawks' atrocious linebacker crew. Kind of makes me miss the days of Jamal Adams, if I'm being honest. Cheers, mate.
I'm going to be honest with you. That's a pretty damn good Rob Staten, okay? And Rob does listen to this show, so if you're listening or watching it right now, I'd say thumbs up. That's a pretty good Rob Staten from SeahawksDraftBlog.com. By the way, go check out Rob's work. He put up a huge draft profile up there on his website, SeahawksDraftBlog.com. He's unbelievable, the amount of work that he's put together. So go check it out up there. But that's not bad. Not bad at all. And for those wondering why Jim isn't here today, he's normally with us Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. He had to take his wife to the doctor, so he couldn't make it work. But he'll be back on the show on Monday. All right, final voicemail here on a Friday voicemails.
Oh, Puckett, Jimmy Moore, Dickie V calling. All right, I love the show. I'm part of it. I'm part of the posse, Puckett. I love it. What you're doing up there is fantastic. Had to call because hoops is starting. I know everybody in the Pacific Northwest loves ball. You got your new head coach for the Cougs, David Ripley. Let me tell you a little bit about Rip. All right. In the Northwest Conference, he played ball there up the road in Spokane for the Whitworth Pirates. He was a diaper dandy, baby. The boy can shoot. He's going to do a great job. He goes to Eastern. Jimmy, keep betting on the Cougs. Have a great day.
Not a bad Dickie V. Not a bad Dick Vitale there on Friday voicemails. We had one more, but I'm going to save that Friday voicemail for when Jim comes back because I don't want to. It's a really good one, and it's only good if Jim is there to actually get it. All right, I do want to get it. All right, before we wrap it up here, we get to Hey What the Puck. We did our Friday mailbag. If you want to jump on here, I sent out a link to the stream. You want to jump on our Friday mailbag, you can ask a question. I know we got Dan's in the waiting room right now. Dan, I'm going to get to you in just a quick second. Why are there balloons going off right now? I have no idea why there are balloons going off. Dan, I'm going to get to you in just a quick second. But we got Hey What the Puck that's coming up here at the end of the show, all brought to you by Restoration One. And again, if you want to win a prize package, $100 that we give out every single month, it's $50 to John Howie Steak, it's $25 to Georgetown Brewery, and $25 to Flat Stick Pub. Only eligible if you sign up to be a Puck's Posse community member. And thank you for all that have signed up. It's been wonderful to see the turnout. It's great. It not only you are going to get exclusive content that's coming up in terms of we bring back the Dynamic Duos, which will be a 4-part series that will interview 2 sports icons in our city that have had an impact in the community, whether it's on the court, on the field, broadcasting, all of that. That will come back. And then we also got a special baseball offseason show that we're going to do. It's going to come out probably in the next week or so. That will only be available to Puck's Posse community membership. That will be a season wrap-up and then look ahead to 25. That will include Ryan Divish, Adam Jude, Jim Duquette, Bill Kruger, and Brad Adam of Root Sports. And then we'll have a special draft show that will be starting there in 2025 there as well. As I mentioned every time, by joining the Puck's Posse community membership, what you're joining is just joining the community to keep this program, to keep this show continuing on through 2025. And when we get to opening day, that will be 1 year, which is just amazing that we're going to get to 1 year. I mean, I thought we would, but you know, there's some times where you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna. So it's just joining a community, much like public radio. But there are going to be benefits to it, including the $100 package that we're going to give away to one lucky Puck's Posse community member that has signed up. But I did say I'll do Friday mailbag, and we're going to add, oh, no, Dan was there, then Dan left. Dan, where'd you go? I was going to throw you on there. Poor Dan. You could have been the first one on the Friday mailbag, and then you left. Dan, screw you. All right, real quick. Our Puck's Posse community member who wins the first $100 package that we're giving away. Again, go sign up. QR code there is on the screen. And then also go to the website, pucksports.com. We're going to give away our first one to Jeffrey McDowell. Jeffrey McDowell. We'll contact you, Jeffrey. Appreciate the support. We just randomly, we put it in a randomizer. We pulled out a name, and Jeffrey McDowell will get $100 in our Puck's Posse community membership prize package, which again is $50 to John Howie Steak. Big thanks to John and Kathy, everyone over there at John Howie Steak for always supporting the program. It's immensely, I'm just so appreciative of them. Same deal for Fatzach Pub, Andy, and the whole crew. Andy Largent, $25 to Flat Stick Pub, and then also $25 to Georgetown Brewery. So we appreciate those guys. $100 there to our first Puck's Posse community member winner, and that is Jeffrey McDowell. All right, Jeff, good job. We'll be giving out, let's see, what is it? Are we in November? Next one we'll be giving out in December. So if you want to win a $100 prize package for just signing up for $5 or $54 for a year, just go to pucksports.com or click on that QR code that's on your screen. All right, Hey What the Puck is brought to you by, as we wrap up, another one of our fine daily sponsors, Restoration One of North Seattle, your restoration company that lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, and mold damage with their property restoration services, locally owned and operated. Make them your first call when damages affect your residential or commercial property. 206-817-8917. Visit them online at restoration1.com, the North Seattle franchise. I think this one can hit pretty close to a lot of people that are watching and listening to this. If you saw it on social media yesterday, Kirk Herbstreit announcing that his dog, Ben, had passed away, a long battle with cancer. Ben had been a big part of his life and a big part of him traveling around to college game day, to the Thursday night football games, and he had a long battle there with cancer. And it's tragic. And what he wrote on social media was just wonderful, and it was beautiful and well said there by Kirk Herbstreit. And I know there's been some people in this industry and social media, they want to take shots at it. Oh, dogs don't belong there and all that. And someone's got to be always upset about something. But they are truly the best, man. And if you don't have a dog, you're not a dog owner, maybe you don't understand, but they really just become part of your family, and they're just awesome. And I thought the way that Kirk, articulated what Ben meant to him and meant to his family was beautiful. Because you get they're pets, but then they take on a life of their own, is where they're just, they are part of your family. They're like one of your kids. We have 2 dogs. Alder, she's crazy. She's 2. Chocolate Lab, she's nutball. Just all over the place. Zoo. We have the older gal, we call her Grandma Maple. Maple's 13 now. 13 for a lab, which, usually the life expectancies around this 12 or 13. She's going great, but it's time's winding down for her, and it's hard to watch it in real time. When I used to be able to take her on walks for 3.5 miles, like now you're walking 3 or 4 blocks, and you got to turn around because she's going she's so moving so much slower. So it's hard to watch, and it's hard to watch it in front of you. And they're the best. They brighten up your day. If you're having a bad day, they never know. Well, they do know. That's the weird thing. And they help you out through those bad days, and they're just great companions to have. And everyone that's had, one of those companions, you know what you're talking about. You know what Kirk Herbstreit's going through. And the thing about dogs, which we could all learn, is just compassion, but unconditional love. Because those pets, those dogs, that's what they have. Unconditional love. Imagine you would welcome in a loved one or a friend to your house or whatever the same way that dogs welcome you, right? You walk in that door and they lose their minds, wagging their tail. My Maple, when she was younger, used to get so excited when I would come home that she'd pee on the ground. She'd be so excited. And, now she's so old, she probably pees on the ground because she can't get up. But, they're the best. So condolences going out to Kirk and to anyone that's, has lost a pet, lost a dog. It's hard. It impacts you a lot. All right, that's a great edition of the Daily Puck Drop, and that's Hey What the Puck. Big thanks to Trent and the crew over there at Restoration 1 of North Seattle. Again, we're getting the wintertime. It's going to be bad. Weather's going to turn. You're going to have flooding in your basement. Let these guys take care of you. They're the best in the business. They will travel anywhere, and it's a one-stop shop, and it's not just your residential property, but it's also your commercial property. You own a business out there. Something happens, fire. There was an incident that happened months ago to a restaurant nearby in Ballard. These guys, Restoration 1, it's a place called Take 5. If anyone's in Seattle around, you probably have heard of it, right off 8th Avenue. And they were Johnny on the spot. They had a gas leak explosion. They were there within hours. Within hours, already assessing, taking care of the problem, and already, pretty close to having that place up and running, ready to go again. So they will take care of you because they are their absolute best in the business. They're locally owned and operated. They're going to do it the right way. So make them your first call when damages affect your residential or commercial property. Again, that number, 206-817, or visit them online at restoration1.com, the North Seattle franchise. All right, the Daily Puck Drop is in the books here for a Friday. Everyone have a wonderful weekend. Remember, everything is up on YouTube. If you go there to watch this later, or you're watching it now later, please subscribe to the channel. Also, check it out on Apple and Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts. And, of course, everything up at pucksports.com. We'll see you on Monday. As always, we promise to be better.
No shoes, no ties.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah.
I was born to love you. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for?
We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!